Hey everybody, it's Alan, and I hope you are doing well. As you can tell, we're about to visit the Sammy Hagar era of Van Halen and one of my favorite songs from the band during that time period. It's a song called Mine All Mine, so we're going to listen to the original OU812 studio version, then we're going to follow it up with a live performance. So, two quick thoughts. Number one, the line, stop looking out, start looking, and be your own best friend, is really, really a brilliant line. It's a brilliant way of putting the fact that people need to self reflect a little bit. We're in a world right now where people have lost the sense of empathy. They don't really have it as much as you would think they do. And that line could be taken a couple of different ways. It could be taken in the sense of stop looking out, start looking in, which, and be your own best friend. Now, that could be taken to the thought process of be a little more selfish and think about what's best for you. But I don't necessarily want to take it that way, given the rest of the context of the lyric. I kind of want to take it in more of the concept of, well, if, it's a little bit more do unto others, in my opinion. It's do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So as you're thinking about the world and you're thinking about things happening within the world or within your personal world, do you sit there and only think about what's best for you, or do you think about what you wish you had, you wish the entire world had, or your world, or your friends, your surrounding community had? It's a slightly different probably take on the lyrics. I don't know, but I'd like to think of it as more like, wait a second, look within you and say, hey, wait a second, if this were happening to me, I'd be pissed off. So why am I actually celebrating it since it's happening to somebody else? That's empathy. That's sitting back thinking to yourself, can I put myself in other people's shoes and actually realize what's happening to them and what are they feeling and what can I do to make it better? Not to spin off into politics here, but if we thought more about the children of Gaza the way that we think about our own children and how we wish that better, stuff was going on properly for them, it just blows my mind that people are willing to say, well, it doesn't matter if those kids die. That's just a horrible, monstrous way of thinking. And that's just one element of what I'm talking about. You could put it almost to any situation going on out there. People with food, on food stamps in this country, it's like, well, why don't they have enough to eat? We can spend billions on the military, but we can't feed our kids? Come on. We can build countless private prisons to house prisoners because we're the most incarcerated country in the entire world, but we can't build schools? We can't build safer environments for our kids to grow up, our families to grow. Right now we're in an oppressive society that doesn't really want growth of citizens. We don't. We sit back and we go, well, we can't have all these kids because people can't afford to have kids. People can't afford to have families. People can't afford to have a roof over their head. And why? And the big answer in a nutshell is that the people in power have no empathy for anybody other than their immediate friends and family. And then not even all the time at that point. Because there are people in power who are sitting there saying, I'm going to dismiss my son or my daughter because they're LGBTQ. And I disown them. I don't want to have anything to do with them. They're not sitting there thinking about how they're feeling. I mean, how they would have themselves, how would they feel if they were in that situation? No, they have no sense of empathy. They're just like, no, you don't follow my beliefs, so I'm cutting you out. It's a horrible state of the world. The second thought I had is Eddie's guitar tone. Eddie's always had a unique tone. It literally has its own name. It's called the Brown sound. And the Brown sound is really the early era, the Van Halen with David Lee Roth era of tones. Eddie's guitar tone went into this unique stereo mix that changed, not just because Sammy Hagar got there, but I think it actually changed because Eddie had his own home studio where they did the recordings. They didn't have that for the first bunch of albums. They were going to Sunset Sound and or other recording studios, and they were setting up and they were paying for time. When Eddie had his own studio, the 5150 Studios, then he could have his rig pretty much permanently set up at all times, and therefore he could actually have a tone that he heard in his head. Now, there's nothing wrong with the tone that he had in his head. It's just by all guitar player definitions, it got spread and split and lost some of its teeth its aggressiveness. So when you listen to the tones on, Fair Warning, and then you listen to the tones on 5150, there's a softer stereo field tone in that the tones on Fair Warning or Women and Children First or Van Halen 1 and 2 are a bit more direct and really piped over to one side. And in a lot of those recordings, the mix is guitar on one side, David Lee Roth's vocals on the other side, and then the drums and bass are more in the middle, and you get this really powerful raw sound. In the 5150 OU8124 Unlawful Carnal Knowledge Balance era, Eddie's sound is split left and right in stereo so that the stereo effects actually capture a lot of the attention, but it kind of loses some of that intense strength that the original tones had. And so the question comes to me, do you think the people who revolted against Van Halen when Sammy Hagar came in would have been more accepting of the change of singers had Eddie's guitar tones stayed the same? If it had stayed that tough, aggressive Brown sound that we know and love from the first 5 or 6 albums, and didn't spin off to this stereo mix that sort of came with the more evocative lyrics that Sammy Hagar wrote for the band, that were a little less sex, drugs, and rock and roll and a little bit more socially conscious. It's an interesting statement. It's an interesting question, and only Van Halen fans can answer it. So, with that said, I've talked long enough. Here's the live performance. Oh, even an amazing live group. Really, really, really killer live group. I got to tell you, three of my favorite concerts I've ever been to were all Van Halen. I mean, Jesus, just listening to Eddie and that band play live and how tight they were. I mean, that the band of Alex, Eddie, and Michael had been grooving together by the time I had seen them for a couple of decades at that point. I'm unfortunate to have never seen the David Lee Roth era, the original David Lee Roth era. And frankly, I didn't really want to go see the reunion because I knew just from hearing live performances of Dave that I wasn't going to get much singing. I'd hear the old hits, but I wouldn't actually hear them performed, in my opinion, to the utmost ability. It had nothing to do with Alex, Eddie, or Michael, or Wolfgang. It had more to do with Dave, and that he's a showman. He's not necessarily a great singer. I'm just saying people will hate that, but it's true. From my perspective, Sammy was definitely a better singer and in many ways a better lyricist too, because his songs weren't just pure, animalistic. They, a lot of his lyrics were more thought provoking with songs like Mine All Mine, with, um, Aftershock and others. But it's not the original lineup. And so I understand people who gravitate towards that. That's why my question still lingers. Would Van Halen fans have been less likely to revolt against the singer change if Eddie's guitar tone had stayed as tough and strong and focused as it was on those first 5 or 6 Van Halen records? Or would they not have necessarily thought Eddie's sound was as strong and tough had Eddie's later split stereo signal that came along with 5150 OU8124 Unlawful Carnal Knowledge and Balance, if that stereo sound had been the original sound that we had heard Eddie play, back in the Van Halen 2 Fair Warning era? It's an interesting thought process, or question, I should say, because it really comes into play. Well, what is really the difference between the Sammy and Dave era? Now, again, I think lyrically, the Sammy era brings a lot more thought-provoking lyrics. I think Sammy is a better singer. Doesn't necessarily have quite the bravado that Dave has, and Dave has his own style singing-wise that's very particular, and it's a fun singing style. It's a fun performance style. But Eddie's guitar tone changed too, and that's the thing that I think raises the question is like, it would Van Halen fans have been more readily acceptable of the Sammy Hagar changeover if Eddie's guitar tone had stayed that mean, incredible guitar tone that we're here on Mean Street and Little Guitars and, I Can't Wait to Feel Your Love Tonight, DOA, Spanish Fly, all the classic, aggressive, mad, angry Eddie Van Halen guitar tones. I don't know the answer. I'll be curious to find out what you think. Feel free to leave a comment. We could talk about it further. Just know that I appreciate all of you and I wish you well.